Okay, here's my next recording. I am going to do some loops in JGrasp. So let's pull up JGrasp. And I'm going to do all 3 loops that we need to learn as a programmer. So let's do a while loop. This is a while loop. I'm going to do the same thing with all 3 outcomes. Open my class. This is a procedural program. It's not object oriented. Okay. I need my main method, public static void main. And then I need a string array of arguments, which we will learn everything about that in CTP 150 when you go there and what that means. I like to line up my braces and write down here. This is end main. This is end class. These are just single line comments. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off a variable counter at 1. I am going to initialize a constant using the final keyword. It's going to be an integer. I'll call it max. And we'll start it out at 10. That's going to be my max is always going to be 10. This is my constant, all right? So, while count less than or equal to max. So for 10 times from 1 to 10, let's print it out. And let's make it pretty. Put some words in there. Concatenation symbol, print count. And then what we have to do is add 1 to count. Okay, well, the while loop is a structure, just like an if statement. Since I have 2 statements underneath my while loop, I need to put braces in here. Otherwise, it's only going to do this print statement. Right, because the braces are telling me how many statements I have in my while loop. So I need to make sure, let's save it and compile, see if we have any errors. I must call this the same name as my class. It must start with a capital letter. All classes in Java are capitalized. I'm going to compile it, and then I'm going to run it. And there you go. I get my counter from 1 to 10. Notice in all loops, there's 3 things that must happen with your control loop variable. In this case, my control loop variable is count. I know that it's going to go 10 times. That's what my counter is. That's what my constant is here. So I have to initialize count. I have to compare count to something. I'm comparing it to max, and I have to alter it. So that works. Okay. Let's do the exact same thing with a for loop. I'm going to change the name of this, right? The difference between the for loop and the while loop is the way that we write them out in Java. They're both pre-test loops. What's a pre-test loop? That means we test the counter control variable or the control variable before we go into the loop. So it's possible we never execute the loop. So the minimum number of counts of a loop may be 0. So in this case, we're doing a for loop here. So I don't need to do this, right? Because in my for loop, I can say for int count equals 1 until count is less than max. Add 1 to count. That's what my for loop. Now, I don't need to do this here. For loop. So let's see if that works the same way. Put that for loop in there, run. Okay, so we get the exact same thing using a for loop. Okay, so those are pre-test loops. Now notice in this particular, I don't need these, because I'm actually doing just 1 statement after the for loop. And remember, all statements end with a semicolon here. This whole thing is 1 statement, even though we put it on 2 lines for easier reading. So when I run that, I'm still going to get the same outcome. Okay. Very good. So those are my pre-test loops. Well, now I have to do, let's do a do-while loop. That's a post-test loop. So I'm going to change this around. This is a do-while loop. This is a post-test loop. What does that mean? It's that I must execute the do-while loop once, at least once. So it's a lot like the while loop, but it's not. We're going to put the counter back here outside the loop. We're going to have that. And then your do while loop is going to look like this. Do, we have all of the statements inside the do in these braces. Print it out because I know count starts at 1. Line count. And add 1 to it. Now here is my while loop down here, or my while, right? And this is going to be my comparison. So it's going to say count then equal to max. You must have a semicolon there. Let's save that. File save as must be the same name as my class. Do while. Good. Run. There you go. There are my 3 loops. And one of the biggest things that you can do when you're running JGrasp or any of your IDs, I do like JGrasp for beginning programmers. It helps you learn program better because you're actually putting in all the braces yourself. So it's very good for beginning students. What you can do if you're stuck and you're having a logic error and maybe, you know, you're not getting the right output that you think you should have, you run this stepper right here. It's right next to the ladybug. You click on it. I hope you can see it when it pops up, but there's a dialog box that pops up over here. And there's a slider. I can slide it up and down for how many seconds I want to run each step. I'm going to move it up to 2 seconds. Let's do 3 so it slows it down a tad. I'm going to click the run button and watch it run. And what happens here is what's happening in RAM. This is my hand tracing being done for me. The program's running. It's running every line on 3 seconds, and then you can see how RAM is working. And you can watch your output. And that's where you can say, oh, no, that's not supposed to be happening. I can correct my program. So that should be a big help too. If you need any more help with loops, please come see me at my office hours. I'm here on Wednesday from 4:15 to 5:15. And then Thursday mornings from 9 to 10. I do hope this helps a little bit. Have a great day, everybody. Come see me if you need to. Have fun coding.